Have you ever had to manage one of your friends? Usually when we get promoted into manager positions, it's within the same department or same group that we've been working in. After all, we are being promoted because of our skill. Now, occasionally we may get promoted into different groups, great. But I'm talking about the situations where we are promoted into our own teams, which means how often do we get ourselves into a situation as new managers that we are having to manage one of our friends? Obviously, the friendship needs to change when we get promoted, but there are risks associated with that change. And if we're not mindful, we can damage our relationship with our friend, but more importantly, damage our position on the team and with our managers. The first risk is confidentiality. When you're just a regular employee, you can share whatever you want with your friend, no problem. But when you're a manager, you're now privy to sensitive information, sometimes confidential information that can't really be shared. So what do? If we don't share information with our friend, we risk damaging the trust and the connection we have with that person. But if we do share the information, we start damaging the trust that the company, the organization has in our ability, in our judgment. The second risk is perceived favoritism. Your team members are going to know that you were friends, and so they're going to be watching you to see if there's any evidence that you are giving your friend preferential treatment. So this could take the form of greater access to you, maybe a relaxing of the rules, maybe you are providing some benefit to them like a bonus or more preferential work, better work assignments. They're watching for all those examples because they're afraid that they're not going to be treated as equally as your friend would be. Somewhat related to the last point, the third risk is performance management. How do you, as a new manager, manage the performance of your friend, where you have to deliver potentially negative feedback, where they may never have had to have that kind of conflict with you before? How much does this undermine the friendship that you have? And the risk is, if you don't provide equal performance management compared to the rest of the team, the risk is that you damage the relationship you have with every other member on your team. So what can you do in this situation? First is to set expectations with your friend. So sit down with them, grab a coffee, grab a drink, whatever works for you, and just talk about what's going to change now that you've been promoted. Talk about things like how much information you might be able to share, how you need to work so that you're not being seen as being favorable to them. And then listen to what they have to say, because they're going to express to you their own fears about the change. Be curious about that. Ask them, what are they afraid about? What do they want to keep? Because you're still friends. There's value there. What can you do to keep that friendship alive while at the same time recognizing the fact that you now have a different working relationship? The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your boss understands that you're friends, because they need to know if there's going to be any challenges in the working relationship between their subordinates, but also your boss may have gone through exactly the same situation. They may be able to provide you with some advice and some good suggestions on how to manage that friendship. So make sure you keep your boss in the loop, that you are aware of this and what you're doing. You also have to practice what you preach. You have to not show favoritism. You have to make sure the confidential information stays confidential. And you also have to treat your friend fairly along with everyone else on your team. I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. Managing friends is not easy, and it can put a lot of stress on that friendship when you're in that differing level of power. And the risk to your friendship is that it won't be able to work. But you have to start somewhere, and starting from a place of respect and setting expectations and being open about the value of that friendship and finding ways to work together to collaborate on a solution of how you can keep your friendship while at the same time working together, it can still work out. So what do you think? Have you had to manage one of your friends before? And how did that go for you? Are you still friends? Let me know in the comments below. If you are seeing this on YouTube, then make sure you click like and subscribe. And if you're finding me on LinkedIn, be sure to follow my profile for more regular updates. And if you're looking to improve your communication skills as a manager, click on the link below. You can download my free guide on asking great questions. Questions are the very fundamental piece of all great communication and needs to be done well. So click on that if you think that would be valuable. My name is Matthew Devine. I'm a leadership and management coach based here in Toronto, Canada, and I provide new engineering managers with practical leadership tips to ensure that you have engaged, effective, and inspired teams. So until next time, let's get to work.